Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and we're fortunate to have with us this morning to talk about the Voting Rights Act of 1965, Attorney Michael McDonald. And of course, Attorney McDonald, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
And to tell you how glad we are to have you here, because now you're no stranger to our audience this morning. We've had you on before, but now on a number of occasions, we might add. But what I'd like to do this morning, Attorney McDonald, is to talk about the Voting Rights Act of 1965, recognizing that this year, 2005, represents the 50th anniversary of that Voting Rights Act of 1965. And earlier we did a series of shows dealing with the Brown versus the Board of Education decision of 1954. And of course, you know that 2004 represented the 50th anniversary of the Brown decision. And so we feel that we've dealt with two very, very significant decisions and very, very significant developments in African-American life as well as in the life of this country. And what we'd like to do today is to talk about voting in the United States. But before we get there, let's have you to give us some information about your background, your education, and some of the things that were important in terms of bringing you here this morning.
Well, good. Again, I'm delighted to be here again on the show. I was born in Buffalo, New York, educated and finished high school in Huntsville, Alabama, which is where my parents are originally from. I went to undergraduate school at Middle Tennessee State University, where I earned my associate's degree in law enforcement and a BS degree in political science, and also had the opportunity to be elected SGA president down there my senior year. And then I worked for legal services for a couple of years, went to graduate school at Southern Illinois University at Carbondale on a fellowship where I earned my master's in public administration. And then following graduate school, I earned a Thurgood Marshall fellowship through the CLEO program and went to law school at the John Marshall Law School in Chicago. Graduated from John Marshall, and then I was fortunate enough to relocate back here in the Middle Tennessee area and attended divinity school at Vanderbilt University, where I took ordination courses, and I was ordained as a United Methodist deacon in 2001. And in 1993, I was appointed administrative elections for Nashville-Davidson County, which gave me the opportunity to work directly with voter registration and voting in the county, and to work through at least 3 presidential elections, and it was very exciting. And you're right, this is a very, very important topic that we're going to talk about today.
You know, I don't think, just looking at your experiences, they've been almost exclusively devoted to some part of the democratic electoral process. And so let's talk about the participation of Africans in American history and the voting aspect of it over the next 2 or 3 minutes we have before we go into our first break.
Sure. First of all, when the Founding Fathers created the Constitution, it was done with little, if any, direction as far as providing for the right to vote of Negroes or women or even white males who did not own property. The Constitution gave the right to vote to only those individuals that were white males who owned property. And so it was only after a series of constitutional amendments that we saw the right to vote being extended to blacks and to women. For example, the 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which was passed in 1870, gave blacks the right to vote and basically said that the right to vote will not be abridged by any state or city or county government. And then the similar right was extended to women in 1964 through the 24th Amendment. We also know that there was a period of time when even 18-year-olds could be registered, they could be drafted into the military, but they were not able to vote. And so the Constitution was again amended to change the voting age from 21 to 18. But we have seen over the past century major changes in the laws regarding voting for Negroes. One area that's critical is that many people think that it really was the 15th Amendment that gave great power to blacks to vote. It did, but many of the southern states put in place restrictions which abridged that right to vote. For example, there was something that was called grandfather clauses, which basically said if your grandfather in 1860 was eligible to vote, then you would be exempt from taking the literacy exam, literacy test, which was required for people to take and pass. Of course, in 1860, blacks were not eligible to vote, and therefore the grandfather clause didn't benefit them, it did benefit whites.
Okay, very good. And of course, let us have this first commercial break,
Okay.
Attorney McDonald, and we'll be back to discuss this further. And we'll be back with you following this very, very short commercial break. The topic is the voting rights